We've seen this before. A major economic report comes out, and there's evidence of millions of dollars worth of trades taking place milliseconds before the data is officially released. Now there's speculation that traders may have gotten last week's Fed news about its plans to not taper its stimulus program 7 milliseconds early. And this time, members of the press are being looked at as possible leaks. Eamon Javers joins us now from Washington with more. This is a really fascinating development, Eamon, and it also is very techie kind of a stuff. So tell us simply what happened and what the Fed's doing about it.
Yeah, well, what we learned today is that the Federal Reserve is contacting certain news organizations to go over the rules that news organizations have to abide by when they go into what's called the lockup room. That's the area at the Federal Reserve where reporters get early access to market-moving information under the terms that they agree to hold it for public release until 2 p.m. in the case of last week's taper announcement. So the question is, did anybody inside that lockup room transmit any data outside the room before 2 p.m. The reason the Fed is looking at this now is because there's an unusual pattern of trading in the market in Chicago. Now, that all depends on the speed of light and telecommunications transportation timing from D.C. to Chicago. It looks like there are trades in Chicago that happened before people in Chicago should have been able to know about the Fed's decision, but nonetheless after 2 p.m. That's because it takes about 7 milliseconds for data to get from D.C., here where I'm sitting, to Chicago, where those traders were, where their computers were. Somehow they got it before that. That would seem to be impossible. The question is, how did it happen? And that's what the Fed's looking into.
And so this has happened now a couple of times. Do you think, or what are you hearing, that could this impact the way the government releases its data? What kind of changes can we expect?
Well, we're seeing every aspect of the federal government wrestling with this question. You've got these old procedures for releasing information crashing up against a system of new technologies, including millisecond level trading, speed of light telecommunications transmissions, and the rest of it. And they're just not mixing very well. The Department of Labor is struggling with this in terms of the release of the jobs report. How to make sure everybody gets that at the same time is a very difficult question. Now we're seeing it again at the Fed wrestling with it today. I think that what we're going to see in the future is a different regime for releasing information in this millisecond speed of light kind of world.
Maybe Einstein was wrong, Eamon.
That's the other possibility. Maybe somebody had a time-traveling DeLorean and just peeked into the future a little bit to get the news.
What is this going to do to investor confidence?
Well, that's one of the questions. We've seen a number of these incidents in terms of traders and others being able to have access to news before other people were able to have access to it throughout the year. If you're a mom-and-pop investor, you look at the whole kit and caboodle of this and you say, hey, wait a second, this doesn't feel really fair to me. But the other question is, how many mom-and-pop investors are actually interested in investing on a 7 millisecond level? Maybe they look at it and say, you know what, I'm not worried about that because I'm not trading that fast anyway. So by the time I get to it, the information is already out there in the market.
All right, Eamon, faster than the speed of light? Eamon Javers.